go live. Yeah, we're going live. We're on top of things. Yeah. Okay, I think we're live now. Welcome in, everyone. This is Mgtow Values, last week I was stunned into what was it, a serious stuff, and this week it's just gotten worse. I got to say, the recent statement by Joe Biden as to nuclear, Armageddon. People are talking about, hey, Smurf, thanks for coming in. That this type of talk is really extreme talk, but at the same time, if you don't talk about it, suddenly there's mushrooms all around the place and you don't know why. And so I think it's smart to talk about it, and we know it's a probability. What's the probability of somebody screwing up this week and pushing the wrong button, and somebody else pushes the wrong 10,000 buttons in response? Because that's the way it's going to work. Somebody pushes one button, and then, well, maybe it's another, and then another, then it's 10,000. But that whole scenario, might take place in like 3 minutes. So, this is a serious situation, and what we have is about houses divided. Well, I think people are on shrooms. I think that's true also, Bob. But it wasn't the shrooms necessarily. It was the clouds of the shrooms, the shroom clouds. What a way to paint a picture about things. Anyway, let's go into a video I managed to get. So let's see if we can do this. And this is the president of Ukraine.
What should NATO do? Eliminate the possibility of Russia using nuclear weapons. I once again appeal to the international community, as it was before February 24th. We need preemptive strikes so that Russia would know what awaits them if they use nuclear weapons, not the other way around. To wait for Russia's nuclear strikes and then say, oh no, okay then, take this.
Well. So that's the president of Ukraine calling. This was 2-3 days ago. Calling for preemptive strikes on Russia so that they would know about nuclear weapons and so they would not use them. He subsequently said, it was a mistranslation. But let's listen to the Russians respond to that, statement by Zelensky made into some Australian group. So this is the Russian response. Whoops. This one.
This statement by President Zelensky must be taken into consideration by every country in the world, and especially Washington, London, and the EU states. Such statements are nothing else but a call to initiate a new world war with unpredictable, disastrous consequences. And they mustn't go unnoticed by the West.
Okay, so this is the office of the president of Russia, and Ukrainian's not that far from Russian, and so I'm going to say that the translation problem is not real, because the Russians got the meaning, and they got people who speak Ukrainian, like fluent Ukrainian. It's not that different than Russian. So, they got some people on staff to make sure they understand what Ukrainians are saying when they speak, especially, presidents of Ukraine. So, there's no way that it's not a preemptive strike. And we remember what happened in Libya. It was a duty to protect, so that was preemptive. And it was preemptive in Iraq, where they had the so-called WMDs that they had to go in, and there were no WMDs, so it was just, any excuse for a preemptive. And now we have Biden, last night, I guess. I think I have an image here I can bring up of... let me get rid of the poems here. We remember that despite everything else, that I am master of my fate, I am the captain of my soul. And, as we go through this very bizarre, very dangerous situation, people have understood that this will happen, might happen, and they have said that despite everything, you can navigate a path, even if that pathway is to your death. you are master of that fate as well. So, big words here, I guess. Big words. Anyway, let me see if I can pull up an image of what's going on with Biden's speech here. Let me see if I can do this. Get an image up here. Hope everyone's doing well. Is there something funny going on in Mgtow? Yeah, there's something funny going on in Mgtow. I don't quite know what it is, but there seems to be a lot of channels coming out that are getting like too many hits too fast and stuff. I think there's something going on here. Maybe it's this one. I don't know. Yeah, there we go. So this is what Biden said. He said, first time since the Cuban Missile Crisis, we have the threat of a nuclear weapon. If in fact things continue down the path they are going, we're trying to figure out what is Putin's off-ramp. Where does he find a way out? Well, apparently, his off-ramp was annexing 4 regions and making people confused. I don't know. Anyway, they've had the Ukrainians take areas to the west and north, but the center part where most of the action is, that's fine. They're still pushing ahead. So it's like they're not going to be distracted. Once they break through in the center, the north and the west are just going to fall, apparently, like dominoes. So I think people want a narrative as opposed to reality in that war, and they want a narrative so that he can say this, and other things are being said to allow for some sort of preemptive strike. I don't know. I may be analyzing things, and the description I wrote to this broadcast talks about in the final analysis. Well, there is no final analysis. There's only death, and this is it. We can analyze now and see how we're going to die. Maybe that'll be helpful. I don't think it's going to be everyone if you're a prepper. Apparently now the problem isn't lingering radiation from atomic bombs, which was the nasty stuff that killed. There is some radiation to thermonuclear, but it's much less and it's different. The iodine, if you just have enough iodine in your thyroid to keep out the initial radiation, then you're fine. If not, you got it in there and it takes a couple of years. So it's not like an immediate thing. The radiation from an atomic bomb, that's pretty quick. But from a thermonuclear, no, it's just the blast. And so if you survive the blast, if you're outside of the blast radius, then, just stay outside of there because it'll be hell in there. And that's not your job unless you want to make it your job. So we're in a different world, and hypersonics, I don't know if they're I don't know what they are, to tell you the truth. I don't know. However, I did hear that North Korea just launched a missile at 17 times the speed of sound. So that's hypersonic as well. And that's North Korea. It's like every one of their dogs getting one of these hypersonic weapons. And it's not that it's big or has explosives at the end, although I think it can and does. It's just that the impact of something going that fast is like the impact itself. Like a little, a carrot or something. I don't know. A carrot going at hypersonic speed is going to cause a great explosion, regardless of whether it's tipped with an explosive or not. Anyway, yeah, Stone Reaper. There's I don't know. It seems like there's an engineering of events to get to this final solution, which is let's have an all-out. I've been reading there's too many people on the planet, which there's not. I've been reading about useless eaters, and they're not, and all of this. Yeah, Smurf. My God. Yeah, deep friends, long and enduring alliance with the Republic of North Korea. Yeah, I had that video last week. I think I can play that. Let me see if I can play that here. Let's go here. I'm going to remember to shut that off. Oh, yeah, here we go.
So the United States shares a very important relationship, which is an alliance with the Republic of North Korea. And it is an alliance that is strong and enduring.
You just got to wonder. You got to wonder what's going on here. Where was her brain? Like, really? People in the business should know this. And, okay, people outside might make a flub up, but you're paid to not make flub ups with words and know what's going on. But, this is just horror, really. These people are in control. Anyway, geez, I forgot to check the stock market before going up. Everything sort of ends on a Friday. And energy's back up, oil and gas. Well, maybe not gas. Yeah, gas is up. And, other things are looking pretty flat and stuff. The stock market, it got bloody at the end of the week. Yeah, down a couple of percent in Europe and America. Something happened at the end of the week. There's a mess. And, things became very uncertain. Apparently, we have this engineering of oil prices, and I think the best analysis of why Saudi Arabia and OPEC Plus are going to reduce production, thus increase the price as demand is fixed and perhaps rising. The reason why they're going to do this is because the Federal Reserve and other central banks, in order to stop inflation and thus stop hyperinflation, is that they're willing to sacrifice the poor people in the economy by throwing them out of work. And if people are out of work, if the factories are closed, if people don't have money to consume, the factories close, and the oil's not in demand, so the oil price goes down, and that stops inflation. However, it puts people into poverty. So what's happening, apparently, is that the Federal Reserve wants to blow up the economy to stop inflation, which is mostly caused by energy, whereas Saudi Arabia says, no, we don't like that approach. We're going to cause you inflation anyway. And so they're going to stop production, raising the price. So these people seem to be playing a different game than the rest of us. I mean, if there's any truth to that, which I think there probably is, that they're worried about inflation, so they're going to get the peasants to freeze in their hovels. They're going to get the peasants to freeze in their hovels. Are you peasants? Are you peasants? Yes, and you will freeze. Yeah, one wonders why anyone would laugh at that at all. It's just the sickest thing imaginable that these people would dispose of men and women and children because they can't, they can't identify the right side of history, which is not to, foment and encourage an ethnic war. But, I think these people are evil. And again, Germany seems to be being abandoned by their friends. They have a hostile Russia. They have, the Americans blowing up the pipeline. And now the Americans are, selling them some extra LNG, but price gouging. So, if the Germans thought the Americans were their friends, they're going to find out. They're going to find out the hard way. And that hard way is not a good way. Oh yeah, look at this one. So this is an image. I'm not quite sure what this image means here. I don't know who that guy is, but it's pretty scary looking. Jay Powell has no say. He's the head of the Federal Reserve. So this is this is sort of scary, And apparently the 6-month truce in Yemen is over, and the Houthis in Yemen have said unless the Saudis and United Arab Emirates governments get the hell out of Yemen and stop bombing us, we're going to drone bomb their oil facilities. And they did that very successfully over the last couple of years. And that's why Saudi Arabia really can't pump up deliveries or production, because the Houthis blew up their oil refineries. And they're threatening to do it again now that this ceasefire is over. So get ready for something like that. So apparently this is it. Saudi Arabia, Russia, they're putting the squeeze to the West. They're putting the squeeze to them. There's going to be inflation. Inflation is going to continue. So that's a very, very, I think, desperate situation. For people. They're going to lose their jobs, and the price of oil is going up, and the price of everything else is going up. And, they just don't care. They just really don't care. And, oh yeah, we're at DEFCON 2. Does anyone know that? Can anyone confirm that in some way? Defense Condition 2 in Europe. Now, it appears to be DEFCON 3 in America, but it's DEFCON 2 apparently in Europe. So, anyone confirm that? That would be great. And, oh, rats, I can't find what I was looking for. But I got this. Let's go into this just because I thought, this is the most important thing I think I've seen in the last week or something. Something's going on, and I think there's bigger things forcing the humans to follow the agendas they're following. And Vladimir Putin quoted this guy, Ivan Ilyin, as a Russian patriot. And, I looked him up. He was not a Marxist. He fled the Russians, but he was an independent guy who put Russia first and foremost. Okay. And he had a quote that the spirit of the people is my spirit. Its destiny is my destiny. And Putin said he wanted to consolidate the Russians and consolidate them in this spirit, in this destiny. And ultimately, when I look at the double slit experiment, which is how things are created. In fact, it's how the universe is created. That you collapse a wave function, but you only do so on the basis of information. He's collapsing a wave function of Russia as somehow united in one narrative, in one information packet. And that he's positioning Russia to survive any new integration of wave function collapses. This is extremely bizarre stuff. There's no question. And but the double slit experiment has been around for almost 200 years, and the really weird stuff has been around for 100 years. We know about it. It's a repeatable modern scientific experiment, which changes a waveform, which is nothing, into a particle, which is something. And it does so on the basis of information. If there's no information, you cannot collapse it. It won't collapse. It remains unreal. But he's trying to collapse a wave function of Russians together. And if he succeeds in doing that, then they survive. And what I think happens in the West today is that there's houses divided. And so this a house divided against itself has many informations, to use a bad word badly. And this is disallowing any successful, repeatable collapse of a wave function, and so it will be destroyed. And I think that what won't be destroyed is within even that house divided, there is a house united. And that house united is Mgtow. And there may be others. There may be others. And we are embarking on men being aware of their connection with other men, regardless of anything else, regardless of any of these divisions people would make, including the division of Russian and non-Russian. However, for countries to survive, that's what they would do. But for men to survive, regardless of what country you're in, it's that men are one thing, and they can decide on their own fate. They can be captains of their own souls, masters of their own fate, and that they are going their own way through reality. Yes, in a country, yes, outside a country, yes, with the language, but that ultimately we are pushing together. And any man who pushes in this way, when we come out of the other side, when there is some either integration of wave function collapses due to some great destruction, and we see that destruction just over the horizon, if we come back with the knowledge, then whatever unveiling it becomes, whatever reveiling occurs, we can carry through from the past to the future. And that is the destiny. That is the spirit of Mgtow, the spirit of the men of Mgtow. And I think getting back to making men the center of discussion, the center of the community, is what will carry through in the next phase, whatever that is. And you know, I'm looking at Mgtow, and I see just so much of what's happening, and we see the pick-me girls and the chameleons coming out, recognizing that no, women are different than men, and we got these trans issue people, and just they're insane. They believe that they're in a toaster oven or an attack helicopter or a different gender. Yes, they're insane, and yes, they demand codependency. And yes, from weak people, they get codependency. From overly nice people, they get codependency. But at some point, you know, you want to help. You know, not everyone does, but you want to help. And helping means not being a codependent. Helping means sometimes telling the truth. You're nuts, and you're not a woman. You're a man. You're not a man. You're a woman. And you've had your cards dealt to you. Now play them and stop whining. We've all got problems. For God's sakes, we've all got problems. Everyone here in the chat has problems. And, you know, if I can help, let me know, but I can't do very much. You know that. But, you know, some right words at the right time, something to make the choice in the right direction, a little push from enough people. You know, maybe it's hard to decide sometimes. Okay. But ultimately, we've all been dealt a deck, a hand of cards from that deck. And they're not easy to play. You know, who was it? I was just telling someone about that guy who was a broker in New York, very conservative, very well regarded, very safe, made money for a lot of people, made billions for a lot of people, made himself $100-200 million, thought the market was going crazy, got out of the market, closed his company, paid everyone back, paid everyone off, then walked into the office and jumped out of the 10th floor window to his death. Like why? What is that? What kind of cards can you be dealt to have a few $100 million in the bank, in investments, to be well regarded, not have the police after you, not have any problems? You know, straight up, you know, classic guy who made a lot of money. Anyway, so leave people alone. Everyone's got their own problem. You're nuts. Okay, deal with it. Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah, that's the one I wanted to get. There's the image. I thought I had it. So, you know, we're in a time of great difficulties. And when we come out the other side, it's going to be who's ever, I think, best centered. So here we got an image here, 13th century social media. My landlord is cruel. I dislike the new king, and I fear I will freeze to death in my hovel this winter. And now we pop up to the 21st century social media. My landlord is cruel. I dislike the new king, and I fear I will freeze to death in my hovel this winter. Ah. Oh, Grim, welcome in. I think nothing's changed, Grim, except the number of people who may die from the next war of the new disliked king. So, well, that's it, Grim. Existence is pain even to the wealthy. Yeah. I don't know that it's futile. I'm going to disagree with that. I find, yes, there is pain, there is suffering, there is want. However, there's also beauty and magnificence and just wonder. And I think that just for that, the beauty, the magnificence, the wonder, that, if you have moments of that, we have a great saying by Shinobi Wan that I'll put up. Maybe I can put that up now. I'm making a video, hopefully, about classical cynicism and Mgtow are the rebirth, I think, of the classical cynics, and Shinobi Wan, I think, summed up classical cynicism, and he's also summing up how Mgtow live at the very same time. And so we have the panel here. Don't live for the joy. Don't die for the sadness. Stay safe in the ghost madness. And, I can use this and I can contemplate this. I can just sit on this. Yeah, the juice isn't worth the squeeze, but if the juice comes running down your mouth, enjoy. I think you enjoy what happens. But don't go living for it. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. If it happens, it happens. No, I think there is a reward, Grim. The Grim is that we do have great moments. We do have moments of wonder and grandeur and magnificence and excitement and joy. There is that. But it's not at the end, then it's fleeting and it goes. So don't live for it. But also, when you're sad, when things don't go your way, don't kill yourself, because that too is going to disappear. It is fleeting. All of this is fleeting. It comes your way. It goes. It comes. It goes. And the best thing to do is to stay safe in this. And there is a madness about it. There's always a madness, but now it's extreme. And we don't know where the madness is coming from. It is a ghost madness. And the solution is to become ghost. To allow the world to roll over you, like sitting in a river and letting the water just wash over you. In some moments you get a warm eddy. In another moment it might be cold, and then it's warm, and then it's cold. And just stay safe in this ghost madness. So this great line by Shinobi Wan. And we got into a bit of a discussion. I wanted to make sure that it was correct. And he came back and maybe it was a typing error, but I don't think it is now. He changed the date. He changed the date to 12/0/22. And I'm gonna stay with that dating right here, right now. This was he made that line, and I made this panel about 12 days after the fall solstice. And it's in the year of 2022, and 22 years ago, I'm going to say, Mgtow began. They came up with that term 22 years ago. And I'm just going to make the starting date the fall equinox so we can keep track of it. We're in the 12th day of the 22nd year of the new age, of the age of men. So this is, I think, a great moment, and Shinobi Wan approves. of this sentiment, of this thinking, of the new world. Yes, it will be confusing when we come out the other side, because maybe they will win, whoever the they is, the world economic powers, the World Economic Forum and the Bilderberg Group and the Council of 300 and the Order of the Garter and Tavistock and all of these groups. They may win, and we may go into a reset where the result is slavery for 100 years or something. But if we remember this date, if we pass this date on, and it's somewhat off, I think, from the 2001 where they stated, Mgtow, I believe, for the first time publicly. It probably happened slightly before that, right? But Zed, the Zen priest, and Solaris, and Ragnar, and the others, they came to the conclusion that men cannot agree. And so the best thing to do is to just get together like this. And whiskey, our great whiskey, he has it. He has the prescription here is that, okay, you got 80% you agree with, 20% you don't. Yeah, you're doing great. You're doing great. So don't try for the 100%. Don't try for perfection like that. You're never going to get it amongst men. But if you go with 80% of what a man says, if you agree with 80% of where his strength is, then hey, you're doing good. We're not going to agree. Yeah, we don't know everything. Nobody knows everything. Yeah. JL and M, yes. We all ask what appears to be silly questions, but it may be the greatest question that should be asked. And you won't know sometimes whether it's silly or the greatest question that should be asked until you ask it. Because yes, it is bizarro. And we can say that a number of more times, just how crazy it is. I just played a video, I'll play the video again, about just how crazy it is. Let's take a listen here. And
Що повинна робити?
What should NATO do? Eliminate the possibility of Russia using nuclear weapons. I once again appeal to the international community, as it was before February 24th. We need preemptive strikes so that Russia would know what awaits them if they use nuclear weapons, not the other way around. To wait for Russia's nuclear strikes and then say, oh no, okay then, take this.
so there we have it. There's bizarro. We have a man who participated, I think, and others do, in from continuing an ethnic war, and now he's calling for nuclear weapons to be used on the people that he was waging the ethnic war against. At least they're protectors. This is beyond all limits of reason. You can't stop and see the perspective of somebody else for a minute. You can't look back in history and imagine things from anyone else's perspective. No, you can't do that. You just want to launch nukes. This is very dangerous talk. This is crazy talk. And, yeah, that's right. That's right, Smurf. That's about the best we can say to that, This is, any silly question you would ask about what's going on in that guy's head is not a silly question. And then with, the statement of Biden saying that he thinks that everyone's close, despite the fact that Russia said, they've got their protocols on when they'll use it, and they'll use it if there's an existential threat to Russia. And that's what protects Russia. That's what protects America. I thought we all agreed to this mad, mutually assured destruction. So you had to be very careful that you don't make the other nuclear powers that upset. I don't know how many China and India have now, but it's more than they had 30 years ago. And, what I see and what a lot of other people see is once devolves in one area, then it's going to devolve in other areas. It's going to be a cascading. All battles that had been quiet will spark up and alight. And if Quebec wants to leave Canada, well, maybe that's the time. If Scotland wants to leave the UK, well, maybe that's the time. If Bavaria wants to leave Germany, well, maybe that's the time. And so on and so on and so on. So Taiwan, Kashmir, Tibet, the whole thing, So one can see the cascading effect of all of this. And, yeah. Thanks, King Charles. Oh, God, I hate this. What a great quote to start his reign on. And I don't think he can handle stress very well. So I've got some DEF CON panels up there in the slideshow. And what is it? DEF CON 5 is like nothing, and DEF CON 1 is nuclear war is imminent. We're not at DEF CON 1, but I found that Europe is DEF CON 2. And that America is DEF CON 3. There you go. Yeah, always wash your hands before eating. Yeah, I don't. I like the dirt. Give me some of the dirt. Give me some of the stuff in the dirt. Hey, we got a question. Right on topic. And they do reveal themselves. Grim. They're revealing themselves every day. I don't know about all of this. I think they muddy the waters, Some of the stuff is explainable, and therefore all of it's explainable, something like that. They're trying to get into sick thinking like that. But I took these pictures last night, and so the picture quality is not great here. Maybe hard to see. But this is the Starlink, apparently. This is confirmed Starlink. So this is Elon Musk's satellite train. Okay? So that apparently is that. I don't believe it, but that's what they say it is. And it may be. I'm just not convinced yet. Then we have, let me go to another one here. And this is another one. That's Starlink. Okay. Then let me go with another one. This is another one. So these are 3 different pictures of Starlinks. And they all move across the sky fairly rapidly. So you can see them. It's like a train. Chug, 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 chug. That's why I don't think they're real. I don't know what's going on up there. I don't know that Elon Musk knows what's going up there. I don't even know that the people who were firing the rockets thinking they're putting it up there have seen it. Smurf says that he has seen some Starlink or some portion of it anyway. I haven't seen one yet, but I've heard other people say that they've also seen it, and I would agree with what you've seen. And then last night there was this other image that came up, and this one, and this picture is really pretty bad. This picture here is not of the Starlink. You can tell it sort of looks different. You can see the lights there are spread out and this one was not moving quickly. So I'm not certain, because I'm not certain of this one here, I'm not certain of the other three that I just showed you. And I had some pictures up of the Starlink, I don't know, a year ago or something like that. There's a couple of pictures up. And I'm not seeing what I should be seeing, which is a map of where these things will be, where they should be, traveling around the Earth at a constant rate of speed, and you can pick out where they're going to be and blah blah blah. That hasn't been released or determined, so that you can always find out where it is and blah blah blah. There'd be some aficionados, space nuts, figuring all this out, and that's great. It's a good hobby to have. I got no problem with it. I'm nuts about crazy things too. So anyway, this one, Graham, appears to be Archons. However, I'm going to say with the Starlink, I'm not sure that the Starlink isn't a deflection. That somebody said, oh, we're going to put up the Starlink. They give Elon Musk more money than he can imagine. And he thinks it's real, but it's not real. And it's used as a cover story to get something up from the Archons into the sky. Because in the new revealing, in the new revelation, in the unveiling and reveiling, the sky will look different. In fact, I had a moment in the middle of the week, and I know people out there probably don't follow this sort of stuff, but if you were to ask anyone who studies really anything in the West who the greatest philosopher was, over 50% will just immediately say Plato as number one. Oh yeah, there I am. So they'll just say Plato. And, Plato has a lot of great thoughts. And I studied a lot of them at university. However, he's got 40-some books or 30-some books, and I didn't get through all of them in detail. And I didn't think about them in certain ways when I was reading them. But in one, which I just stumbled across, this week, it's called The Statesman. By Plato. So it's the book Statesman by Plato. And in it he has a character, a stranger from Elias, who's representative of Eleatic philosophy, who I also did study. I like the Eleacs, especially Parmenides. I was right into Parmenides for so long. And anyway, in this dialogue in the book The Statesman, Plato discusses the sun rising in the west and setting in the east. And yes, you heard it right, and I typed it right, and I downloaded the book, and other people have referred to it. I believe this is what is happening in this Statesman. That he's talking about a time when the sun rose in the west and set in the east. Then it was switched by the Archons, the gods, in order to just correct an injustice. And so when I look up in the sky and I see these sky trains, I'm not sure what they are. I'm not getting enough of what I think I should get in terms of information about launches and trajectories. And then I see ones that don't look like the sky train at all. They're not moving. And I see everything else that's in the sky. Then again, I go through history, and we have a 6,000-year history of these types of sightings. Sometimes tens of thousands of people, sometimes just a few. And, we can discount any singular, sighting by a one person, whether they were on hallucinogens or not, you would discount it. But when you have radar picking it up and video picking it up and people seeing it, and the people are credible and qualified, yeah. So no, I think the archons do show themselves in ways that I don't know how they understand how they think they're showing themselves, but they're not showing themselves always in a good way to humans. Let's put it that way. But their way of understanding the universe may be very, very different than ours. However, if they are in this universe, they are physical. So they can be killed, and they can be killed by the normal way that we kill things physically. It may take a little more this way, it may take a little more that way, but they can be killed physically. So, but they may not understand it as being killed physically. They may understand it very differently. So they're here. The archons are here. I think they're messing around with us. I think the structure of the space is also causing some of this. The sun is changing, but that's, I think, part of what the archons are doing. But the space itself has a shape. So, hey, we got Chris Mitchell, Jeffrey Fry. Welcome in, man. Ironheart, Coral Steel. And we have, I think, a continuation of the serious stuff of last week. We have statements by the president of Ukraine, by the spokesman for the Russian president about nuclear war, and then Biden as well. So we have a triple header at the very end of this week, talking about somebody freaking out and pushing the button, and that was what it was going to be, right? We're going to have the trigger event. We're going to have some idiot, some Franz Ferdinand moment, where somebody assassinated the Archduke of Austria and set off World War I. And it's just like boom, and then it cascades out. And as I say, from the first missile, the first mushroom missile flying to tens of thousands, it might be 3 minutes before the decisions have been made. How many are in the air, sir? They looked all to be. Well, is that right or wrong? Well, if they're all on the way, let's launch. Get the codes. Click, click, click. Boom, boom, boom. Die, die, die. So, I'm not sure what that is, Jeffrey Fry, but yeah, philosophy is canary in the coal mine. However, I think philosophy outstretches any type of particular rise or fall of gynocentrism. I did a study on Homer's Iliad, which I think we'll all remember, Helen of Troy. So she ran off, she hypergamated with, who was it? Paris, of the city of Troy, Prince Paris. And so here we have hypergamy beginning the Trojan War. So Menelaus and his brother Agamemnon, who were of the Tantalus family in Greek mythology, they set out to retake Helen back to her husband. And in so doing, they destroyed Troy, they killed Hector, and at the end of that Iliad, Hector's widow, Andromache, saw, who was it, Achilles' friend, Neoptolemus, throw her son off the walls to his death, off the walls of Troy to his death, and then Neoptolemus went up to Andromache and said, "Now you're my wife, bitch." And she bore him 3 sons. And so we see hypergamy at the end of this story as well. And so this is the ancient Greeks telling everyone that they knew about hypergamy. Absolutely, they knew about it. They knew the danger of it. And And that at the very end of the Greek Empire, and I have a video out of that as well, Cercidas, who is, I just recently discovered, a cynic philosopher, classical cynicism. And, they were much like Mgtow. They didn't marry, they didn't play the game, they went their own way. The classical cynics are the ancient analog of Mgtow in the Greek Empire, and they saw the end of that. And, whatever was happening, the Greeks forgot about Helen, they forgot about Andromache, they let it happen. And then at the end it got weird like today, absolutely weird like today. And Cercidas had that great quote in his poem, and the quote is, "The sanctity of oaths has perished." And I think this oath speaks to that information that is solid, that information which is destiny, that information which is your spirit, that oath to yourself, that connection with yourself. Tomorrow, you're connecting. An oath to yourself is a connection to yourself tomorrow, and that gives you strength to carry on. Despite the fact, yes, Grim, we are livestock to whoever wants us to be livestock. If we have that connection to ourselves, we are strong. And each man in Mgtow should have a connection to himself in the future, in the past. And yes, you may have made a mistake, and you may need to forgive yourself and move on and do it. There are no victims in Mgtow. There are casualties, indeed. And maybe the casualty needs a few stitches. Maybe the casualty needs a little bit more to heal up. Okay. But it's going to get healed up and you move on. Why? Because the world's a beautiful, happy, rainbow place? No. You move on because there is wonder, there's greatness, there's beautiful things in this world. And as Shinobi 1 gave us in this great line, don't live for the joy, don't die for the sadness, stay safe in the ghost madness. And that is why it is good to have that connection with oneself, to have a sanctity of oaths to yourself, and to live, as Trav would say, to live beyond reproach. Enjoy life. If something falls into your lap, enjoy it. Don't worry. Enjoy the pleasures of the world. Don't go seeking them, but if they come your way, don't throw them off as if, you can't deal with a little pleasure in this world. Deal with the pleasure, enjoy it. Smell the roses. And after the roses wilt, don't cry. They will either return or they will not return. This, I think, is the middle path. And this is what connects, I think, humans to the world, because the world is neither all good nor all evil. It moves up and down and provides opportunity. There's bad luck. I'll admit that some men have bad luck. And they do apparently all the right things, and it just doesn't work out. And other guys got good luck. They do the wrong things, and my God, they get it. And then they smarten up in just the right nick of time to keep it. And other guys go up and down, and, maybe you go a decade of good luck, a decade of bad luck, a decade of good luck, a decade of bad luck. What's the world doing? What's the world doing? So this is the world that we have to fight through. And a lot of men now are waking up to the current situation that Western women just cannot be interacted with safely. And yes, the Western women are so stupid. They say, oh, they hate us. No, sorry. Don't hate Western women. Feel sorry for them sometimes, but don't feel angry at them for being so stupid, so unimaginably stupid. Why would you do this? Why would you believe such crap, which is ultimately unbelievably false? Yes, indeed, JLM. Fortune, luck, chaos, all of it. And that chaos, I believe, we can also term the shattering in the Kabbalah. It's the shattering. It's the the law of unintended consequences. And that also, I think, can translate into entropy, the second law of thermodynamics. And evil. All of this is evil, because at least bad luck is. Because here we have destruction with no benefit for reconstruction. If you remove all energy from the system, what do you have left? Nothing. And so evil is this absolute destruction. I see that happening. You know, I'm looking at the stock market and I see this virtual value. It's not a real value, okay, but it's a virtual value. Some of it's real. But if it goes down, then that virtual value is not there to be used. And so it's like entropy has taken over. It's like evil has come in, darkness, sucking up all the energy. And eventually, you know, it starts eating in on what is real. You know, it's like you have a mountain and you take the rock up to the mountain and you roll the rock down the hill. Okay, well that was exciting. But what happens if you make the mountain flat? Well, you got nowhere to roll the rock up to and roll down. There's no energy in the system. This is evil. This is entropy. This is the second law of thermodynamics. This is bad luck. There's nothing to do. You got a rock, but you got nowhere to roll it up. Yeah, okay, sure, you got to roll it up. You expend the energy to roll it up to the top of the mountain, then you watch it roll down. And maybe something takes place when it rolls down. This is a thriving system. Today, I only see evil. I see destruction for no value, for no benefit. And this is one of the outcomes of a law of unintended consequences of living. And so, yeah, this is where we are. We're in good luck, we're in bad luck. And we can put different terms to it and look at it differently. Jeffrey Fry, fortune is an archon then. No, I'm going to say no. Archons are subject to good luck and bad luck as well. They're subject to a law of unintended consequences. They are victims of evil themselves, of entropy. They have to deal with that and push it back. Archons are species, living species, just like you and I. They eat, they have kids, whatever it is. You know, they write stories, they maybe have music, I don't know. So, yeah. No, these structural features of the universe, they're subject to them too. And they probably have personalities. Yeah. Yes, we were all soul lies. A search for truth. I recommend if it's still up there. I think I took a lot of vids down, put some back up. I have a couple of videos on truth. I discovered a new definition of truth. Truth is not a correspondence between statement and reality. No. Truth is that information which, if acted upon appropriately, will lead to extended life. So truth has something to do with living and not just thinking. Living is more than thinking. You know, you've got a whole body, not all of it is thought. So truth has something to do with living. And so I'm going to put out, and I have put out, that truth is a demonstrated, sustainably lived life. And so if you're 20 years old and you say you can do something, well, I'm not really going to put much credence in it. It may be true. But if a 70-year-old man says, yeah, you can do this and live, I'll believe it more. I think there's truth in it. But it may have been good luck. You know, the old guy might have just had good luck. So I'm not quite sure. But the more I look at it and the more I see it, the more I know that I should do this, that this is true. And one thing I know is true is don't watch the mainstream media. I think it used to be good. I think, nobody knew what to do with it when it first came out in the 50s and 60s, the television, 60 Minutes when it first came out, actually uncovered corruption, actually uncovered wrongdoing by companies and government and told about it, but now they don't. Now they don't. they've been bought and paid for. And so, this is what happens. This is a law of unintended consequences, that corruption will occur. Good things will be co-opted by bad things. And yes, maybe the good thing can grow tall and remain high above, but maybe it'll be cut down. We know the song by Rush. Equity. Equity is making its rise. Everyone has to have the same outcome. We will make everything level. That was a video. I think I can bring that up. Let me go and see if I can get this. God, I hate that. It might take me a second to get this. Yeah, I didn't get this one. This happened in the first part of last week. And I wonder where I put it. Let me see if I can find it here. This was a speech by Kamala Harris. Here we go. This is scary. It's not going to fit in well. Get ready.
We have to address this in a way that is about giving resources based on equity, understanding that we fight for equality, but we also need to fight for equity, understanding not everyone starts out at the same place. And if we want people to be in an equal place, sometimes we have to take into account those disparities and do that work.
Yeah. Did you get that? This was a very good definition of equity versus equality. I'll play it one more time here. This is Kamala Harris talking about providing money for the people in Florida after the Hurricane Ian went through. One more time here.
We have to address this in a way that is about giving resources based on equity, understanding that we fight for equality, but we also need to fight for equity, understanding not everyone starts out at the same place. And if we want people to be in an equal place, sometimes we have to take into account those disparities and do that work.
Yeah. What a bunch of communist. This is communism. You realize that. If we want people to be in the same place. So that means that, you want people to end up in the same place. This is communism. You cannot fight for equality and fight for equity at the same time. It's contradictory. I don't know how this person got into the position they're in, but this is, I just feel like screaming. Well, I feel better already. So that was equity. That was equity, and this is a bad world that we're in. When by hatchet, axe, and saw you will cut down the oaks. There is unrest in the forest. If you don't know the song, it's what's it called? Trees, and it's a very clear statement of a practical implementation of communism, Marxism, of this type of thinking. That you were born with a little bit more because your parents didn't become heroin junkies, and so the children of heroin junkies should be able to walk through your house and take some shit from you. This is I'm sorry about the heroin junkie kids. You were dealt that hand of cards. You got to play it and leave the other people alone. Why would you want to take that from somebody else? Eventually, if people start taking stuff from other people because they had some disadvantages in one way or the other, nobody's going to want to do anything. Yeah, JL&M, the Trees, Rush, the band Rush, the song Trees. It's a great song. It's a great song. And we've got some info here that Clinton deregulated the media in 1996. It might have really gone downhill after there, for sure. I remember some stories coming out, and they were responsible. They were accountable for what they said in some way. They couldn't just come out and say it's opinion. It's entertainment. Now they can. It's just entertainment. They have no obligation, as we see with that poor kid who was just standing there with a MAGA hat on in Washington, and all of a sudden people think he's evil because of lies and horrible lies. He won one case and seemed to have lost another. And, there's just no accountability. These people are completely free of any accountability. So this is the world that we're in. It's a nasty world. And we have houses divided. We have men being pitted against men this way or that way. If it won't work here, it'll work there. And people don't want to look into history. They won't admit to things. They won't say what they think. Here on this channel, you can say what you think. And, be advised, other people do research. You can't get away with very much here. People know stuff here, and it's a good way to learn. In fact, it's always good just to relax. I don't know everything. Nobody knows everything. Maybe I get something wrong. I'm willing to be corrected. But we got houses divided, and that's what's doing a lot of this. And we've got economic trouble. I don't know what's going to happen with the UK. Their bond market went all haywire last week. Is Biden worse than Carter? Yes, Biden is worse than Carter. Jesus. Well, I say Jesus, but yeah, I think he's worse than Carter. I think he's the worst president ever. And I thought Obama was bad, and I thought George Bush Jr. was bad. Horrible. I thought he was horrible. And then it just got worse. Trump was not quite as bad, but he did bad things. Yeah, you might remember that, but they're going to be telling horror stories about this. What is it now? 31 trillion Americans are in accumulated debt, and that's just what they admit. This is now a couple of years of income before you get out of debt. Like, this is grotesque, really. Yeah. And the president, he's asking for dead people in the room. This is unbelievably bad. And other things. I mean, the list is so long. Yeah. So, predeceased. God, that's funny. Yeah, dead man walking. Is that it? We have dead president walking. And again, he's just a construct of the powers that be behind the scene. They're very happy. They don't care that he says something stupid, because obviously, he's doing what they want him to do, and enough of it, so they don't care. So this is all very bad news, I think, this week. However, in the bad news, there's room for optimism, in that if we stick to the narrative, and the narrative of Mgtow is very easy, it's very, very simple, and you will have connection with yourself, you will have connection with other men, and in this way, whatever happens, whatever revealing comes out after whatever they do, then you can make your way then. Yeah. I agree, Psyche Soap. He makes any of his predecessors look good. Yeah. And this is a disaster for America. America deserves better than this in some way. How did it happen? We went from Thomas Jefferson to Joe Biden in just 200 years. This is unbelievable, really. And there's still some power in America, because ultimately they can disarm everyone else, but Americans will not be disarmed. And the second they're disarmed is the minute you're finished, is the minute the world's finished. So the Germans know about being disarmed. They've had two dictators. They were disarmed, and then they had Kaiser Wilhelm, and then they had the German mustached man. And yeah, Americans have the guns, and look, they don't get any of those. They get horribly bad now because they're CIA choices, but they don't get that. Anyway, maybe somebody's trying to set America up for that, because at this point, Americans are so divided that I think a cotton bud would take them out. They're too busy fucking each other up the ass. Isn't that what the American military like to do now? They like to have, rainbow parties and fuck each other up the ass. And, I don't want to say that about any troops that are, supporting the men who fuck each other up the ass in the army. Maybe they think that they're doing right in supporting deviant hedonism. Okay, sure. That's the army you want. That's the country you want. Yeah, go for it. Mgtow men are looking at it and are aghast at all the, filth and degradation. But you want to say, oh, no, it's a great thing to fuck another guy up the ass. And, this is what life's all about. Oh, sure. Fight and die for that. But I'm thinking most men in the American army and every other army are going to risk their life so some man can fuck another man up the ass. I just don't think that's going to be the case. I could be wrong. But, this whole decline into deviant hedonism has been engineered. You make women so toxic, men are going to maybe do something else if they feel that validation on sexual prowess is the measure of manhood, regardless of whether you do it with man, woman, animal, or inanimate object. And maybe that was it with the vibrator. You break the boundary, you can have sex with inanimate objects, and suddenly, the whole, there are no boundaries any longer. This is a dehumanization. Yeah, Sodom and Egypt. Where are we now? We're in Sodom and Egypt. Oh, Jesus. That's great. But, I got some pictures up here in the slideshow. People were talking about, people moving TAC nukes. I don't know when the pictures were taken, to tell you the truth. But I heard reports they were being shifted, and that's what they look like. If you see them shifted, take a picture. In fact, it's good to take a picture anyway. Keep your camera glued to the sky, glued everywhere else. And again, I'm going to say in this world of serious stuff and houses divided, don't expect 100%. If you get 80%, you're doing great. And I think in the world of Mgtow, the men who are waking up into it and are saying, I don't need validation on this from a woman, from a man, from anyone else anymore. And, I like other people and I like other men, but I don't need their validation. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. If people like it, they like it. If we want to do something else, well, we can do something else. I'm up for that too. But I don't care whether you think it's important. It's important to me, and that's all that counts. And will it be important to me next week? I don't know. Let's go to next week, and I'll let you know. But right now, it's important. And I think this is men standing up for themselves. Yeah. Yes, I think there is some. What do I call it? Evil is uncloaking Ironheart. And the slavers are revealing their faces. And so, to pull yourself away from those slavers and to do so that, the slavers don't come chasing after you, okay. The slavers don't know that you really pulled away, that's okay. Yeah. Oh, God, Mgtow Smurf. I just had a genius marketing breakthrough. So you put like a contest or like a lottery or something on vibrators so that, some people win a prize of money and gifts if you buy the vibrator. Women would be buying them a lot of them. I'm just saying. Yeah, join the contest. Give us a name. and a phone number. And if you win, we'll shower you with money and prizes, cash and prizes. There we go, cash and prizes. Yeah. Every vibrator purchased is one entry ticket into cash and prizes. Bzzz. Oh, man. That's a marketing genius move. Gives women everything they want. Yeah. It gives them everything they want. Yeah. Oh, God, America's DeVille, this is great. We have a question. We have a question from the chat. Is post-vibrator clarity a thing? I don't think we can answer that in this chat somehow. And any man who wants to try to answer that is going to, show his hand or show her hand or show a little bit of deviance. I don't know. Oh, God. Chrome Dome Omega. That's great. That's great. Yeah. Yeah, I think America's DeVille, we should have a contest right here that somebody's got to go into like a feminist chat or something like that, and put they'll answer questions. Everyone does. Just ask that question in a feminist chat and see what answers you get. I don't know, or maybe not a feminist chat, but a woman's chat or something like that. See what women say. Is post-vibrator clarity a thing? Guys are saying that post-nut clarity is a thing. Is post-vibrator clarity a thing? Yeah. Oh, that's great. No, a woman. What is a woman? That's an easy question to answer. I put it out there. I'll do it again. It's easy. I've seen some videos and people have partial stuff. But there's 4 things that can define a woman. One is the XX chromosome. Another is the right amount of estrogen and testosterone, roughly. Another is the right body parts, internal and external. And the 4th one is that if you take the person and under an MRI machine, you ask them certain questions, the brain will light up in a way that will allow you to determine what body parts they were born with. There. It's that 4th one that ties it all together. That the brain and the body go together. That you are born with a brain that is different than the brain of those with different body parts. And you can tell this in an MRI every time. So this is what a woman is. It's the XX. It's the estrogen and not testosterone mostly, and it's the body parts. And if you put them under an MRI and ask them questions, you can determine what body parts they were born with. And we got it. We got it. And we can do the same for men, only it's XX, XY rather, and it's more T than E. And same thing. Yeah. Hey, he coined the term post-vibrator clarity. Did you look it up? Is it out there? Let me do a Google search. I'm curious now. Yeah. I got 0 results. This one goes to America's DeVille. He coined that term, and we were all here to witness it. Holy shit! It is your term. You coined it. Yeah. No, well, you know what that tells me just initially, it means that no one else has ever talked about it really, that no one thinks it's real or it's not real. No one's talked about it. Hold it. Let me try this. Yeah, on post-nut clarity. So we changed the word vibrator to nut. I got like 209,000 hits, and it's right there. The right definition is right there. So, yes, America's DeVille, nice. Something that does not exist. Name something that does not exist on Google search parameters. Yeah, post-vibrator clarity. Oh, man. Oh, God, history has been made. This is great. Okay. Psyche soap. Okay. You are not a biologist. You are not qualified to answer. Yeah. This is what's called a technocracy, that only certain people with certain qualifications may make certain statements. This is the beginning of the end. Oh, great. Somebody just brought me a mango juice. Yeah. Anyway, I think I mentioned just earlier on that I stumbled across a lot of channels that are Mgtow channels. Again, they don't use Mgtow in the name, and they don't use Mgtow in the titles of the videos, but it's Mgtow content, mostly about women and the multiple issues of men getting trapped into those situations. But they get tens of thousands of views, and so I'm wondering whether these are real, or whether this is a distraction, or some of them are on the fence and allowing men to go out with women, just making sure they get the right one. But that is, if you think about it for 2 seconds, impossible, because women change, and they themselves don't know that they'll change. And, we're seeing more and more chameleons, more and more pick-me girls saying this, but they change too, right? They don't know. You got the religious, young religious woman marrying, and then suddenly she gets some new information and some confidence, and she's no longer religious. So there's no way you can know if there's a Nawalt, and nobody knows, and nobody can tell, and it's just too dangerous to worry about. So I'm concerned about some of these channels, but there's a whole bunch of them out there. So the message is getting out, and the statistics say that men are being smarter and smarter year by year, and the West is declining, and the great replacement is going on full steam ahead, and men are remaining ghosting in the madness. So when the madness ends, men can return to hopefully positions of personal authority over their realms, their individual realms, and that, I think, has to happen after a surrender by the megalomaniacs who have taken control. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Women's feelings change constantly. Yeah. Yeah. Day by day, it's up and down, up and down. I think part of this has to do with evolutionary drives that allow them to understand the sentiments of children who cannot really speak or express themselves well. That you have to be attuned to it, and you sort of make stuff up and go with it, and maybe something good comes of it, whether it's true or not. Young children can't communicate well, so you believe that they're communicating well in some other way, and that creates pathways of intuitive understandings, feelings, but you're not going to stick to anything for a long time. Men also get intuition, and I think it's useful to consider it. I don't recommend at all just dispensing with intuition. There's a book by Malcolm Gladwell, called Blink, and this is an intuition that you understand the nature of the situation almost immediately, and you cannot say why you understand it, and that understanding is correct. And you should read the book to get more information. It's called Blink, and again, people who have it really just have it in one area. that they have either some specialization in or just some other ability that reflects itself in that. So anyway, we have intuition. We can use intuition. But I think women have more of it, and it's very flighty. Women are flighty, and given the legal system, that flightiness is just equal to danger. And so this is where we are. However, I believe today, obviously, that you do not want to get into any situation, especially today, but ever in the West currently. But also, we're into a situation of imminent, a stupid act imminently causing horror. So, if somebody does something really stupid, and last week somebody blew up some pipelines. What's next? They're bombing using kamikaze drones against nuclear reactors. They're blowing up pipelines. Like, how much more stupid can this world take between two nuclear powers that are on, hair trigger, positions? So, yeah, this is not a good place to be. However, in all of this, there is some good news. The lockdown madness is stopping, and the sabotage. I think there's multiple sabotages. I think China sabotaged the economy of the West by locking itself down. It knew it did not have to lock itself down, but it locked itself down in order to sabotage the economies of the West, which it did do. And it felt probably that the calculation was we destroy the West by 20%. We only destroy ourselves by 15%. Therefore, every time we destroy them by 20%, we win. So I think there's that. Hey, he's out at the lake. Get out of the lake. Go for a swim while the water's still warm. Oh, man. Well, it's warmer than it's going to be, right? It's only October, 8th. So, JLM, what in the hell happened to you? You got censored again. I don't know. That's not good. I haven't seen a comment for a while. What the hell did you write? Nothing. You criticize, and rightly criticize soap, but then again, sorry, soap. Anyway, yeah. Yeah, no, nice to have you in one fast Doc. Enjoy your time out there. As I say, I think I'm jealous. I've got nice things here, but there's nothing like a beautiful lake in Canada. Especially this time of year, the leaves will be turning, it'll be lovely. And the smell, oh my. Yeah. All of it. And you don't really need to catch anything. If you catch a fish, that's nice too. If you catch an otter, well, that might be nicer. They're fun to play with. Well, that is until they realize you're not an otter and rip you to pieces. But for that little moment of time, yeah, be careful in the wildlife. There might be a wolverine out there. No, seriously, I think he's going out into wolverine country. Maybe there should be a saying, post-wolverine clarity. If you survive against a wolverine, yeah, you're lucky to survive you're lucky. Yeah. Yeah, sorry, I wanted to get to this site here. I don't know why we're getting censored, but if you feel you're getting censored, go to upsidedowntext.com and flip it up, switch it over. What do? I think I do a backwards and upside down. I do both, but whatever you like. And Yeah, post-walrus clarity. Oh God, I think we got a theme here. This is a theme. Yeah. Well, I just got that idea here, so it wasn't censored. So the idea that's most censored is many will welcome cybernetic neuromancer oblivion. I had to stop and actually read that to determine what cybernetic neuromancer oblivion is. So this is the transhumanist, I believe, the transhumanist ideal to upload your psychological stances into a computer and then live within a digital environment. I think that's what it is. And that many will welcome that. Like, get me the hell out of this nutso world and let me go into the mainframe. Yeah, I think many will welcome it. In fact, a number of men, I'm sure, in this chat will welcome it. I play some video games, and it would be quite something to actually sort of be in the video game. One can see that as an interesting thing. It's what is it? It's the dream world of the movie Inception, right? You go into the dream world, and you can live a lifetime in, or what seems like a lifetime, in just a few hours. So you come out of it and get something to eat and go back in. Yes. Interim. It's always interim. It's never final. It's only final when you die. So it's always a clarity waiting to be muddied and then re-clarified. Yes. Today, I have the clarity. Tomorrow, things might get a little funny, but then afterwards, it'll clear up again. I see that. And this is the way it is. Maybe this is the way to go. This is going your own way. The way is the way of clarity, that you have to clear the path, and that the path is only temporarily ever cleared, far enough so you can see a few steps ahead. That's all we see is a few steps ahead. In fact, I don't see to the end of this week, to tell you the truth, man, for the first time, in my life. The last little while, I got to say. Previously, you sort of knew, okay, something big might happen, but, basically things will be the same at the end of next week. But it's not. It's not in my ability now to get any probability, reasonable probability that I know what's going to happen by next Saturday morning. I don't know. I got pictures of spaceships. I don't know what in the hell they are. I got people talking about nuclear war, presidents of countries, talking about nuclear war for the first time in my lifetime, openly. Some guy says clearly, nuke Russia first, preemptive strike. Russia responds to that statement, then the guy says, that was a bad translation, without being forced to clarify. What did you actually mean by preemptive strike? How was that misinterpreted? What were the words in Ukrainian, and what does that actually mean? Because you can be sure that people up at the top had it translated, couldn't believe it, had it sent back, and sent it out to other people to make sure the first translation was right. So, a really coiled steel. If you do not use any punctuation, your post may stay. There you go. Fuck punctuation. Chrome Dome Omega, you got a question mark there. Bzz. I don't know what. No, I see punctuation. There's punctuation all over the place. Yeah. Anyway, this is a serious time for men. Certainly be concerned with the normal Mgtow subjects, but right now, young men should know that older men who have seen, I didn't see the Cuban Missile Crisis, I was just born at that time, but I grew up since then, and we've never had anything like this. So we are into new territory, and it's not just a matter of keeping your wick out of crazy. It's a matter of ensuring that you got a plan and an action plan to provide you safety should something very, very bad suddenly happen. So I think that message has got to go out now. And until that happens, it remains true to get out the message that good men get what you can now. Do not make investments for the long term. Hold off. Keep the resources liquid. At some point, inflation is going to start eating up on savings, so you want to keep clear on that. We should do an inflation show pretty soon. I don't know how it's going over there, but if there's stuff in the stores that's not too expensive, then we're doing okay. Always price things out, not in dollars, but in how many hours of work it takes you to get it. So, if you're making a minimum wage, what does, a hamburger at McDonald's cost versus minimum wage where you are? If your minimum wage goes up and the cost of a hamburger goes up, maybe you're making money, maybe you're not, I don't know. But yes, if you have resources to beat inflation, one of the main things you can do is invest in your health. And, if you have to purchase medicines, purchase ahead. Purchase a month ahead, 6 months ahead, something like that, something that you know you're going to have to use. Invest in your health. Take out a gym membership. Get yourself in good shape. If you're young, you might have to run. So, you want to keep your eye on what's going on. Situational awareness is now key, and it now includes geopolitical matters. Turkey has just announced that it's fed up with the United States, in the United States now sending weapons to the Republic of Cyprus, in which Turkey has some issue. And Turkey has the second largest military in NATO. Turkey has been part of Russia's prisoner swap program and other issues dealing with the wheat shipments, and is fairly close to Russia. So this is looking like the NATO is having trouble. Additionally, the EU seemingly having trouble threatening an incoming government of Italy and the government of Hungary, while at the same time we see other governments such as Germany stumbling, and so we're looking at a mess. And all of this is going to be hit by a tsunami of just something, by OPEC saying they're reducing oil production, as Americus DeVille says, and by 2 million barrels a day, as Smurf says, which is significant. So if you're in California, whoa, man, $7 a gallon in Southern California. Jesus. Yeah, that's pretty pricey. Anyway, I don't know why there's so many people in California anymore. LA is a great city. It really is a great city with the mountains and everything, and beautiful weather, and the beaches, but I don't know. Apparently, the electric cars in Florida, after the hurricane passed through and they were flooded, now they're catching on fire. Ooh, nasty. And those battery fires are really, really weird. So, I suppose, Mgtow Smurf, I wasn't thinking about the benefits of living in California, but yeah, you don't have to have a bathroom inside your house. You just go outside and go to somebody else's neighborhood and shit on the sidewalk. And then, if you need some toilet paper, you just shoplift it on the way there, and then just shoplift on the way home. I could see that being a lifestyle choice for some people. I really do. Yeah. It's crazy when that almost becomes, it probably is a lifestyle choice for some people. Yeah. So we are in a situation of absolute idiocracy. The debt is going up. They're going to print more money just to kick the can down the road. So if you are worried about what's happening, that's good. Be worried, but still live. And you can get what you want. And that's still the case. And I think by keeping your mind focused on Mgtow, on going your own way, don't look for validation from me because I ain't going to give it to you. And don't look for validation from anyone else because you don't need it. Anyway, I think we'll end here. It's been a great discussion. We got a new coined term here from Americus DeVille, something that I think is very telling in this world. Post-vibrator clarity. Nice one. And again, we can use that in many, many situations. So let's keep it going and get the word out. Men are doing good, but they got to watch the world now. The next couple of weeks, it's going to be serious business, whatever is going to happen. I'll pop up if something really big happens, but otherwise, just remember, Mgtow, straight on through in 2022.